Hi Harper's Bazaar, it's Mona Kattan, founder of Kayali Fragrances, and I'm so excited to welcome you to my fragrance library. So I started collecting fragrances at the age of 14 when I got my first job. Almost all of my money went towards beauty products, and majority of that was fragrances because to me, fragrances make me feel so many emotions, and I just feel like it's a magical bottle of like moods, which I just love so much. Right now, my fragrance library smells like so many different samples that I'm working on. At a given time, I'm usually testing about 20 to 30 samples for the future creations that we're working on. This smells amazing. So my first fragrance was actually this one right over here. It is Curve by Liz Claiborne. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't repurchase it today if it wasn't for the memories I have associated to this fragrance because it's not really my style anymore. But when I was 14 and I lived in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, there weren't many options. I had to buy all my perfumes from like CVS Pharmacy. She did good. Look at the color, matches my outfit. I love it. My most recent purchase or purchases are all these babies right here. So, as you guys know, I'm a bit insane when it comes to fragrances, and I think I probably buy about 100 per month. I still have to go through all of these and smell them because I just want to like make sure I get familiar with it. So I've got a lot of work to do. These are my new babies. Welcome to your new home. Yeah. So my favorite fragrance in my collection is one of our Kayali fragrances. It's Sweet Diamond. I love this fragrance for so many reasons. I do love the actual scent so much. It's a beautiful, spicy, sweet floral fragrance that's just delicious and so long lasting. This was one of the first ones that I worked on after my therapy journey, so I feel like I was able to go in deeper on the meaning behind it and the storytelling. And this is really a ode to feminine energy, which I think everybody has in them. So there's just too much I could tell you about this fragrance. It's so meaningful to me. And she's pink. Woo! So a fragrance that I bought for the bottle and not the scent because I don't really like it so much is the one and only Chanel No. 5. The scent is not so much me because it has aldehydes and I'm not a huge fan of aldehydes, but the bottle itself is stunning. It's a work of art. It's classic. It's iconic. I even bought the whole collection of this limited edition packaging. If you have a fragrance library, you've got to have Chanel No. 5. The most expensive bottle in my collection is actually this one right over here from Bulgari. I think it's 10 kilos, I'm not kidding. It's so heavy, so pretty, and it's one of 50. Like only 50 bottles were produced in the world, and my sister had got it for me as a present because we were on a trip in London and I was so sick and I was in the hotel almost the whole time, and she felt really bad for me, so she surprised me with this. From memory, I think it was like 2,000 pounds, which is insane. I was like, what are you doing? Return it. And then she was like, you need it for your fragrance library. And I was like, you're actually right. So I'm still grateful you bought it for me. Would have preferred cash, but it's all good. Now that it's done, I'm happy I have it. So I decided to launch my own fragrance brand for so many reasons. Number one, I've been obsessed with scents and the sense of smell. I think it's because I'm a very emotional person, and I feel like the more emotional you are, the more you become attached to the memories that you form with fragrances. When I moved to Dubai, I was 17 years old, and that's when my love for fragrances skyrocketed. I've always said Dubai is a perfume lover's playground. There's so many different scents in every single corner, and many different formats too. It's not just eau de parfums. You have bkhur, you have oud oils, you have fragrance oils. There's just so much into the rituals of the Middle Eastern culture that I thought was so beautiful and so interesting. And to be honest, before I moved here, I really wasn't familiar with that. And I fell in love so deeply that I was like, if I could start a brand one day, I need to start something around this so I can share it with the world. It's so rich and it really does make a difference in your life. I feel like fragrances really are a form of self-love because they really change how you feel in an instant. So Kayali was born out of my love for fragrances and the power that they have, but also I wanted to keep in the Middle Eastern touches into everything. So the name Kayali means my imagination in Arabic. The bottles themselves look like the bottles that you find here in the souks. Like this is a fancy one. There's many different kinds, but every single element of Kayali has a touch of my Middle Eastern roots. I always try to use some Middle Eastern notes. I really feel like people are starting to change and they're starting to realize how powerful fragrances are, which makes me so happy. Fragrances do, unfortunately, expire, or at least they start to oxidize and start smelling a lot like alcohol. It's really sad. You can increase the length of time that they last long by keeping them in dark rooms with cold temperature, keeping them in like something like a foiled bottle. This protects your fragrance longer. Like when it's a see-through glass, it will actually oxidize faster, but roughly they should be lasting pretty good for about 3 to 4 years. It also depends on the notes and the amount of alcohol versus oil concentration. So the more oil they have, the longer they should last. There is one type of fragrance that is the opposite. So oud oils in particularly actually smell better with time, and the value goes up in time, kind of similar to wine. Actually, if you go shopping here in Dubai, you can find some oud oils that will be like $20,000, $30,000 per kilo just because they're older. But in general, an eau de parfum, unfortunately, does not last forever. So the cultural differences with fragrances from where I used to live in the States to Dubai are extremely different. Middle Eastern culture actually uses fragrances as part of their daily rituals. It's part of their celebrations. It's a big part of our identity even. People here will make their own fragrances for their families, for their house, and it becomes the identity of being in someone's home. Another thing that people do here is they burn bukhor throughout their house. They'll put it on their clothing, they'll put it in their hair, and it's really just such a beautiful thing. It just smells so divine. I'm just gonna show you guys. This is a electronic burner that I bought, and you just put a wood chip, which is arga wood. It's oud, and you burn it. It's soaked with perfume oil as well, so it has its own scent. And they just put it under their hair like this, and your hair will actually soak up the scent, and it will last like all day. The one person who I've met that smells the best is actually my husband Hassan, and I think that's part of the reason why I married him. After the first few dates, I was like, okay, at first I thought he was just trying, because like obviously we were just dating, but then I realized he just always smells so good. He's very picky with his fragrances, and I really love and appreciate that about him. I actually love a lot of celebrity and influencer fragrances, but the one that I'd have to say is my absolute favorite right now is the one by Billie Eilish. I love the bottle, I love the fragrance, and I actually love her. And I also love the price point. It's a very good price. Smells divine. Living in Dubai does definitely give you a lot of global exposure, access to so many brands that I might not have access to if I was based in my old home in the US. Being here really helped me beef up my library and get tons of fragrances that are super niche, very indie, but I do travel quite a lot too. And every time I travel, the one thing on my bucket list for exploring a new city or country is what fragrances do they have that nobody else has. I personally love layering my fragrances. I was inspired by this when I moved to Dubai, because I remember when I first moved here, everybody was wearing so many different fragrances, and I'd ask people like, what are you wearing? And they would like list off so many different things. And I thought it was super cool because people were like not following any rules. A lot of my guy friends were wearing women's perfumes, or at least categorized women's perfumes, and they were mixing it with their own different fragrances, and the mixture together smelled so beautiful, and it was so complex and long-lasting. It makes your fragrances unique. I don't ever wear fragrances on their own unless I'm just trying on samples and evaluating a fragrance for a launch. If I'm just going out on my own, or if it's date night, I wear about 5 to 10 fragrances minimum. And Kayali was actually created around a layering concept. So collection number 1 was actually created to layer around our elixir. And we have the musk, the citrus, and our vanilla, which is kind of like your toppers for elixir. Recently, the past few years, a lot of people are now exploring layering. I remember when I first presented the concept to different retailers around the world, they thought I was crazy. They were like, people aren't gonna buy a few perfumes. It's already hard to get them to buy one. But now it's literally the trend, and I'm so happy to see that happen, because everybody who starts layering tells me, they're like, it's the best thing ever. Creating your own fragrance, it's unique. No one's gonna smell like you. And I do feel like it makes your fragrances last forever. And a fun fact is that our Vanilla 28 was actually created as my favorite topper, because my favorite layering perfume scent is the vanilla note. Our Vanilla 28, literally, I call it my whipped cream to my dessert. We actually just recently launched our Vanilla Royale fragrance, which is our bougie big sister of Vanilla 28. This is a much more intense vanilla. It's a lot deeper, it's a lot richer. We actually have oud inside as well. We have something interesting called the sugared patchouli note. which also just is super sweet and delicious. And it's also limited edition, so hope you get your hands on it before it sells out. All right, thank you so much, Harper's Bazaar, for having me on your page. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope you learned something new about fragrances, and I hope that next time you spray your fragrances that you enjoy them a bit more and really use them as a tool of self-love, because they really are.